Da-da-da-da. What's going on, guys? I hope you like my titles hack. Trying it out. Yeah, live is like the most efficient way for me to get these things done. Okay, so let's go. So I just had a heartbreaking session. My day was awesome. People learned. They were happy. A lot of them were happy with me. And I get to the last session, and it's just a fucking shit show. And this video is not for kids, by the way. I'm going to be really honest. This is for all you. This is for all you parents, especially for you parents who are like these guys. So I entered the session, and the student has her camera off, and I'm like, "That's fine, no problem." But the parent was not fine with it, and she was really mean to the student about it. Berated her for not having good enough planning as usual, and blamed her for being like hungry and grumpy and basically not having a hard time to get through an hour-long lesson at 7 p.m. at night, right? And the kid was like just she was just like yes, no to everything, you know. And I asked her, you know, could you engage more, right? And she was great about that. Like, she wasn't like conversing like, you know, like I am with you, but she definitely started to open up, and she started to tell me about like some of the things she liked and didn't like some of her hobbies, interests, sports, her experience in school, like what her grades and classes were like. And what we got to was that she really does not like reading. She hates reading. And she says it's like not the most terrible thing in the world, right? So I let her read about, I thought, okay, let's figure out where she's at, like her reading level, and see like what kind of help she needs. Because she's just so disengaged, she's not going to let me do any of the executive functioning stuff. I was hired for executive functioning and reading comprehension and stuff like that, right? But she's like this kid is not going to engage with all this like boring stuff about like, you know, how to get your work in on time. Like she's not going to listen to that. I'm lucky she's sitting here. She's like got her camera off and doesn't want to be here, right? And was straight up with me. She says, I said, do you think you need tutoring? No. Do you want to be here? No. So I thought, well, maybe I can just find some things for her to read that she will enjoy, and maybe we can get some work done that way. So I asked her what she's interested in. She says this, that, and the other, gymnastics. I'm like, great. Let's see if we can find like something about gymnastics. Let's see if we can find a poetry about gymnastics. I thought that might be like kind of easy, maybe like engaging for her. So she draws up a bunch of pictures of she puts in poetry about gymnastics, and what comes up on her iPad is a page with like an unusually high number of pictures at the top. So there's like, I don't know, 4 to 8 pictures at the top. And if you scroll down below that, there's a bunch of web results with like different websites that have poetry about gymnastics. And we were going to read that, but she was at the top of the page, and we're showing the pictures, and her dad comes in and sees her on the iPad with pictures of gymnasts. And he says to her, what are you doing? You're looking at pictures of gymnastics during your session? Share your screen with your tutor right now so he can see what you're doing. And started berating her. And I was like, no, it's okay. She's exactly where I told her to be. I told her to look up this, and we're just going to start reading now. And I said something like, is it okay if we start the session now? Is it okay if we continue the session now? You know, like trying to take the authority. And he was like, fine. And, you know, this kid was like, she was totally silent. I didn't see her because her camera was off. She was completely silent, and I could swear that I sensed fear. So maybe I'm imagining that. So she starts reading, and it's like kind of ho-hum, and she's not very engaged, right? So we move on to something else. So I'm like, okay, let's move on to something else. And I thought, I'm going to give her something to read that hopefully will open her eyes a little bit about what she may be experiencing, right? This is supposed to be compassionate learning. So even though I had gone through varsity tutors for this student came to me through varsity tutors. still my approach is one of compassion. So like, okay, what can I do with the kids, like self-awareness in terms of reading? So I pull up an article on tiger parenting. I tell her that I've selected this article because of my experience as a parent. And I have her start reading it. And we don't read much. We read like 8 paragraphs, enough for her to get the overview on what authoritative parenting is and all that. And then we move on to something else. Oh, no, then we take a break. She needed a break. So I give her a break. I tell her parents, we're on break for 10 minutes and, let her go eat something. And the parent was like, next time, said something like, next time, don't let her get up during the break because she has a tendency to wander off. And I was like, that's what the break is for. You're supposed to take your eyes off the damn screen for a little while and stop working and let your mind refresh. Okay, so she comes back and her mom sits her down, and it's like her mom's sitting her down for a freaking timeout at this point, right? I hope you guys don't do this to your kids. It's hard to admit that you do these things because I used to be this parent. I used to be authoritative. And she sits her down and says, go on, sit down, get started. Now turn your camera on so he knows that you're paying attention, right? And I'm going like, oh my God, wow. I'm like, okay, how you doing, kid? And she's like, I'm okay. I'm like, all right, good. Let's do some reading. So I pick out Emma Goodman for her to read. Now that was a mistake on my part. Looking back, like I shouldn't even picked out the tiger parenting article. This is like a boundary I need to maintain from now on. This is the first time I've done it. I learned my lesson. I'm not going to do it again. But the parent had no idea that the kid was reading Emma Goodman, and I told her, Emma Goodman I told the kid Emma Goodman was a suffragist, a women's rights activist. It's in large part because of her work that we have the women's right to vote, which was not in existence in the 1900s, was supposed to be, but it wasn't. She's the reason why women get adequate schooling now, and why there are like child labor laws and 40-hour work weeks and unions and stuff like that. So overall, she's like, been good. And I'm not a anarchist or a communist like Emma Goodman was, but I do believe that everyone should have the right to vote if that's in the law, and I believe that everyone should be able to live the life that they want to. So I read the title of like several poems, and she picks out an essay on prisons. She's curious about it, so I let her read it. And what's in the essay is a couple of paragraphs, like 4 or 5 paragraphs by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Like literature. And the story that Dostoevsky tells is about the devil coming to a priest and condemning the priest because the priest has lied to his people about the nature of work and suffering. And he takes the priest to hell to give him a taste of the medicine that the priest's parishioners are suffering. So, and that part the mom heard, and she hated it. And she said, what does this have to do with anything? And I said, I am trying to find something she enjoys reading. The assignment is for reading comprehension. That's what we're working on. And the parent was like, why? Said something like, why do you have to? Or why should she? Or, something like that. What the parent brought up specifically that she didn't like was the mention of hell and a devil and a priest and smoke. Those were the things that she brought up. And she said, that her daughter couldn't even understand this, which is not true. Her daughter did understand what she was reading. Of course, not all of it. I mean, that's why you read literature, so that you can like get mad skills and figure out how to make the writing on the page become like lifelike to you. And I told the student that I was like, we need to like engage with the text more, so that it's not just words on a page, but it's like a picture or a movie or a sensation in your mind, right? So, I chose something that was like, I thought would be not boring. Shouldn't have picked anything political. Shouldn't have picked anything like to do with tiger parenting either. But I digress. I won't do that again. But the part the parent hated was about the words, like these, I don't know if the parent's problem was religious, or if it was that she felt that the text was too graphic in nature or something like that. I mean, there weren't any pictures or anything, but things like that are like in the Bible. And I heard much worse things growing up with like a family who was, let's say, steeped in Christian tradition. And anyway, so, if you know me, I like to run the show. I like to decide where we go. I don't like parents who feel that they are powerful to try to have that power over me and my sessions. I haven't learned to let that be okay for me yet. And the unfortunate part is that uh, when you tutor someone, you're not just tutoring the child, you're also working with the parent. Okay, and sometimes usually that goes really well. Usually I use that to my advantage, to the student's advantage, but not this time. Not this time. I'm pretty sure, and this is the heartbreaking part. So you got the fired by the toxic parents part. Yeah, she fired me right away. And I was like professional about it, like, I guess we're not a good match. And that was the last thing, have a good night. But here's the heartbreaking part. So the heartbreaking part is that I believe that this child is scared, and it's because of the parents, and the parents are aggressive and hateful and mean because it has worked for them so far. And what can I do in a situation like that with this student? How can I help this student? That's what I was trying to think of. Like, increase her self-awareness, try to show her some of what may be happening around her. Try to show her the women's rights movement. The roots of the women's rights movement. Like, that's still very important because women are losing some of those rights, or people are trying to, including voting for women. But to help this person, I don't know how I would begin as someone who does executive functioning and self-regulation, and uh, I guess with a student like that, the best that I could do would be to be there for them as a supportive voice, an encouraging voice. Um, lots of students, lots of different uh, stages of personal, mental, emotional, spiritual development, academic development. Some of them need to learn to get in touch with their feelings more. They need to develop languages around their feelings, right? Some of them need to learn how to skillfully work with the feelings that they know they have. Some of them just need to be released from the tutoring session because they hate it so bad. Like, just let the kid get a C. It's not the end of the world. And this kid, I think, if she is afraid, which I think she is, and if she is sad and, experiencing, I mean, it's beyond anxiety. Of course, anxiety is part of it, but I think what I was seeing was fear to be on camera, fear to try, uh, maybe probably I think fear of getting yelled at and being judged by her parents for sure. But how can I help a person with like that problem, the judgment and the anger of the parents? I can't help that person with that. It's heartbreaking. I was going to have those clients and student reassigned because, like, within the first, I don't know, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, I knew that this was a problem I would not be able to help the student with, and I wasn't prepared to like be around, like be available for this kid watching those things happen and stay silent about it. I have to develop some kind of approach, like thing to say. I think something really professional and short, like what I did. I guess we're not a good match. I think that's probably best. But I just wanted to say to these people, your child is afraid of you. And if there's any problem that she's having in school, you're making it worse. And I don't think I can say that to a parent. Not yet, at least. Maybe eventually, but I don't think it would help right now. All right. Thanks for listening. I take the happiness of my students very seriously. And I try to have a healthy delineation between their request for academic help, their request for emotional help or emotional support or spiritual regulation. You know, in this case, this person was asking for none of that, not even the academic. So being a support for someone who's not saying, I think I need to work on my perspective or my outlook, or I just have tremendous anxiety or tremendous fear around education, around my work, and I don't know why, or I hate my work and I don't want to hate my schoolwork anymore. Like, if somebody's not saying those things, not asking for help with those things, like being a support for somebody like that, it's going to be challenging, heartbreaking, right? To see someone unhappy and to see the cause of it right there from the parents, like, and not able to do anything about it. I'm not prepared to be in that situation. I'm not prepared to be in that situation. So if you are this parent, why not reach out to me? I also do coaching for adults. If you're tired of your kids being afraid of you, if you're tired of your outbursts and your anger, if you're tired of feeling like crap and having to be a battleship ball buster all the time, if you're like exhausted and pissed off and you hate the way that you feel and your body is like betraying you and breaking down because of the stress, if you want to change that, I have over 20 years experience in Chinese medicine, integrative types of medicine, uh, various kinds of diets that can help, that you could barely notice a change if we do it right. Lots of self-reflection, meditation, personal and spiritual development. And if you are a parent in this situation, I can help you. So thanks for listening, everyone, if you made it this far, and good luck to you all. Bye.